We on? Clap for the microphone. You know, that's it. Yeah.
Good.
You got audio. Sweet.
All right, let's go.
Okay. Hey, this is the first podcast we're opening up today. This is kind of like the big debut.
Yep.
Nothing but truth.
All right.
We have Vince here. He's actually been in one of the small groups that I taught in just for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I used to be a worship leader at the church that we went to together.
Mhm.
What's crazy about that is now we do ministry together, so it's super awesome.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
didn't know it, now you know. I'm a Christian. Vince is Christian. This podcast platform is for anybody that is religious or non-religious, so please feel free to watch these videos, whether you are a Christian or not a Christian. We're going to be talking about conflicting topics. One of the biggest things in today's society that I think lacks is masculinity, and there's all kinds of things in the world right now where people are saying it's toxic masculinity, that being a man and just being a man, being the person that protects and is a provider, is toxic to women.
Yep.
I mean, there's all kinds of podcasts you can listen to, but I think that we'll just hit it off with this is going to be a platform where we're not going to hold back on difficult topics.
Mhm.
So we'll open up
Yep.
with that one. I mean,
Nothing but the
I mean,
truth.
you have TikTok. I don't really go on TikTok that much, but I've seen that on TikTok there's been a lot of people.
Yeah.
Majority of them are I'd say age range wise
Oh yeah.
would probably be high school girls to college
Yep,
girls.
18,
It's kind of what
25.
I've seen. 20,
Yeah.
that 16 through
Or,
through
yeah,
like 25.
15, 20, yeah.
Right.
25.
So I think one of the things that what we've been talking about, even on just our own time before we done the podcast today, was we were thinking about what topics do we even talk about,
Mhm.
and the top 3 topics that came to mind was toxic masculinity
Yep.
and what real masculinity looks like.
Mhm.
We're both young. I'm 21. I'm going on 22.
Yep. I'm
Vince,
17.
You're 17.
18
Okay,
soon,
he's gonna be
yeah.
18. Gonna be actually legal.
Yep.
And but no, so we are walking in this time together. I remember when I was in high school and I was going through a lot of things emotionally, physically, just spiritually,
Yep.
and all of that stuff. And
Yeah.
there was a lot of challenges during that time. So honestly, audience-wise, if you are 15 through 25, I think that this is the podcast that you're going to want to listen to, because
yeah.
we are walking through life, and we want to walk through life together.
Absolutely.
And this platform is to give purpose ultimately and wisdom.
Yeah.
So in order for us to do that, we have to also be poured into. So we have a lot of leaders in our own life that have been there with us through the tough times, and we are not exempt from those tough times that we go through in life.
Absolutely.
So this is real, vulnerable, not teaching, just kind of a, hey, let's get together and talk about
Exactly.
these things,
Yep.
right?
And being able to have leadership or be able to talk to people, because we know that not everyone has, a father figure, not everyone has leaders in their lives. So
Right.
being able to come from experience and come from what we know and what we've been taught and what what we're seeing on a daily basis, what we can help you guys with, and just calling out things in general, and saying like, this is not okay, this is okay, and our views on it, and nothing but the truth.
Honestly, nothing but the truth. Our views on it and why we believe it is the truth. First and foremost, I believe in Jesus. We both believe in Jesus. He's the way, the truth, and the life, and I will always stand firmly on that. It's never going to vary from that
Yeah.
at all. And that's something I've known from. I was born into the church. I
Yes.
mean, a little bit about our own backstories. I was born into the church. It doesn't mean I always was close within the church and held on dearly to God, and that whole entire idea of what does it mean to be a Christian, I kind of tossed that out the window in high school. And, and during that time, I was actually still starting to learn how to worship lead and do all that stuff. And that was a little bit of a period in my life where I was lost, and I think that a lot of people are lost in high school. I mean, middle school through high school, you're still trying to either find out who you are, why you're here, and what your purpose is. And so honestly, first and foremost, I would say if you believe in God, God is the way. He has a plan for you. And if you don't believe in God, there is a plan for your life. So regardless, like we said in the beginning of this video, religious or non-religious, Christian, non-Christian, Hindu, Buddha, it doesn't matter. We want you here. We want you to listen to this podcast.
Absolutely.
And the main topic we're talking about, first one that we kicked off, is toxic masculinity.
Yep.
I mean, what have you seen that's been like you can't ignore it?
Yeah.
Like
It's just everywhere. It's
it's everywhere.
everywhere you look. Yeah. I mean,
And what do they say? What do they even for the times that you've looked on TikTok and you're like, okay, here's a video, here's somebody venting. What are they trying to say, and how is it different from just being like, okay, you know what masculinity is? Let's separate masculinity naturally and then toxic masculinity. What does that look like?
Masculinity, I mean, you think of masculinity as like, okay, well, being a man,
right.
And how am I being a man, or what makes being a man, right? And in today's society, being a man is many different things. But as as a Jesus follower, and as someone who loves Jesus and loves God and has a relationship with God, you see it way different. Like some people think of like, oh, well, I'm a man because I wear a cowboy hat, or I'm, you know what I mean? Just simple things, or like I have to have muscle to be a man. Which those are, you should have muscle. You should work on yourself.
You should naturally have more testosterone in your body than a girl or a woman.
Absolutely,
you should.
But I think the basis of being a man is spiritually, mentally, and physically, right? And then obviously, being financially, stable as well.
Right. Provider, protector.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So like it goes all the way back to like when there was tribes, right? When there was the man had to go out and hunt with other men and groups of men. So our iron sharpens iron. So you have to have other men come together. You come together as a group, and you protect, you hunt, you care. You're the man of the tribe. You're men. All the men in the tribe care for the woman, the children, everything. Right. So it is our duty to care for others and not be selfish and stand up and do the right thing.
Right.
But I think, so there is men that think they're doing the same, the right thing and everything.
That they're being leaders and they're actually leading.
But what they're actually doing is they're leading in the wrong areas. Or if they're not leading, they're just sitting down and waiting for someone to do something for them. So I think with toxic masculinity is they're spreading out a message, but it's completely wrong.
Right.
Like
it's like diluted.
It's very diluted, and it's very wrong-sided. It's very like, I think a lot of the toxic parts is like kind of just either giving up or saying, because everyone's doing this, you know what, I'm going to do it too because it looks fun, or it looks, and the basis of that is like relationships. Yeah. And you see on either, if it's TikTok or whatever it is. Yeah. You see that people are starting to just randomly give up. Yeah. Or they're just starting to like, okay, well, I've been in this relationship, like, oh, you know what? Everyone else is just getting rid of the relationship for some odd reason. I'm going to just do it too.
Or they're just cheating.
Or that cheating. Too, yeah.
That kind of goes into like just being lazy. That's just toxic in the relationship, period. Yeah. And that, I guess you could consider that toxic masculinity, abusing that protector, provider, leadership role in your own relationship. Exactly. If a woman trusts you, and you decide that you're just going to lose interest, that's toxic. That is toxic. Oh yeah, it's very toxic. You're completely abusing the girl emotionally. Yeah. Like, or even worse, you're abusing her physically. And what I mean by that is sexually, actually. Yeah. I mean, there's a reason why biblically it says you probably shouldn't have sex before marriage. Yeah. It says that, and a lot of people have. And hey, you know what? There's a pastor who said sometimes the baby comes before the wedding. Yeah, and it does. That honestly, what I would say to that is that's okay because we still love you, and you're not going to go to hell for that. Yeah, you know what I mean. But there's principles and there's ways that biblically it's set up to set us on a path of, well, I mean, the right way to go. Yeah, righteousness. And there's righteousness, right? So. And what I have seen, though, with toxic masculinity is specifically girls or women saying that they feel like they can't do things when a man is in leadership or being that provider or protector. Like it seems like they're trying to rip them out of society of like, you can't be a masculine man anymore, yet they want to be able to do whatever they want. Exactly.
It's like they want to be equal to us, and women are now wanting men to be like more feminine. I've seen that too. Which is very. It's not supposed to happen. You're not supposed to switch roles like. And then they'll also say like, "Oh, we don't need men," or "I hate all men." It's like, what? It's like, well, you played a role, but men built society. Yeah. It is what it is. Men built society.
It's true.
It's like, I think women should have rights. Right. But there's not a lot of rights that women don't have anymore.
Right. No,
So
that's true.
we basically have all the same rights. There's nothing that really compares, differential between those.
Mm-hmm.
So
There's always some type of conflict when we're talking about this, or conflicting, like, it's hard to say, because when I have talked to a couple of different people about toxic masculinity, they're just like, well, I don't need a guy, and I don't want a guy, and that's completely different.
Yeah.
Not needing a guy and not wanting one is
Exactly.
completely different.
Yeah.
Statistics show a father present, not just sitting there on the couch, but emotionally present for their kids or for their wife or whatever, being a protector, provider, sets it up for a healthy household.
Absolutely.
A family. And so
Food
even
at
if
the
you
dinner
didn't
table.
want a family like that, your family is now with your wife,
Yep.
and you guys live together, you guys are making it work together, you guys are doing life together. Clearly, statistically, it shows
Yeah.
that you're probably actually going to have less of a chance getting divorced
Yeah.
if it's set up that way.
Exactly.
I've seen a lot of different podcasts and a lot of different views on the topic, on the subject of, why women feel like they don't want a man in their life. And I'm sitting there going, it's mind-boggling, because it's either you have to be such a high-status woman to where financially you don't need a guy to protect or provide you, and you want to do it all on your own, which is just called being independent.
Yeah.
And I've seen some people do that. Okay, you're not really setting yourself up for a family at that point.
Yeah.
You might as well just be alone at that point.
Yeah.
Because that's not. I don't think that's a. I just don't think it really works that way.
Yeah.
And I think it rarely works that way. But what I've seen in my own family unit, I have a dad. He's been present. He's been there. I have a mom. She's always been there. I have siblings. We have lived a happy life. My dad, anytime I needed him for something, he's been there. He's always been there, and he fills in the gaps where I needed him. I needed the guidance there.
Yeah.
And for when my mom needed help, I wouldn't say she couldn't do it by herself,
Yeah.
but it's a heck of a lot easier when you have a strong man
Exactly.
willing to put his foot down and say, this is wrong, this is right, this is the way we're going to lead, this is the way we're going to go, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the first time that I really remember this, at a young age, when my dad, we were in a kind of a financially tough spot. We had our house and everything, so when my brother Michael was really little, and I don't even think Bella was there, who was my sister, so my brother's Michael, my sister's Bella, and he had to sell. He put his guitar for sale. I loved playing that electric guitar. It's a carving guitar. They don't even really make that model anymore, or you don't even sell the amps anymore either. And so he put it for sale at, I forget if it was like $1,500 or whatever it was. To me, I was like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I was like, why are you selling the guitar? He goes, because, son, we need the money.
Yeah.
Sacrifice. That sacrifice to take care of his
Being a
wife
man.
and his kids.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that without a strong man.
Exactly.
I'm not saying it's impossible,
Yeah.
but there's a reason why having a strong man in your life is, I think, more necessary than not.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so what's another mind-boggling topic to kind of talk about is a lot. I was talking to my girlfriend about this. I said, what do you think about this? And she's like, I think that a lot of women just complain, and they want to really complain about the topic and demasculate, men.
Yeah.
Just make them more feminine. And I
Yep.
was like, why? And she was like, well, I don't. She's like, I don't really get it, because I want to be taken care of.
Yeah.
It's like, and
Which,
that's the majority of girls.
That would
Like,
make sense.
That
yeah.
would make sense. Like, you would
Yeah.
want the path of least resistance.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, what?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
Like it's always been like a. I mean, it's different in every household, but
Right.
the majority of like what you would think is like you would want the men to be the provider, right?
Yeah.
You want the women to basically take care of the kids,
Right.
and what you think. I mean, I guess what I think of as a household, and it's different for everyone, right?
Right.
Like everyone has their own views, everyone has their own like things or
Opinions and
whatever,
stuff,
right?
Yeah. Right.
But I think of, hey, honey, I'm home, and the dinner's made, and the kids are being taken care of and stuff.
Okay,
And you
yeah.
can do all that together.
Right.
That's fine. But that's what I see. I'm
Yeah.
like, that's what, that seems like a happy life, And not just going to be a
Yeah.
happy wife, happy life. It's going to be no, we're both happy,
Yeah.
and we're both, equally yoked together and
working together.
We're doing this together.
Right.
I'm providing for my family so she doesn't have to work. I'm paying for things. I'm providing financially, and I can provide in different areas as well. But the basis of that is the man works, and the woman takes care of the children and makes the food. That is basically how, I feel like
how it's been or it should be.
That's
like you go back maybe 50 years, 60 years.
It's exactly how it looked.
It kind of how it looked. I mean, you go back in time and look at what did work and what problems are we having now in society.
Yeah.
And where is it coming from?
Exactly.
And so I see a lot of people on TikTok and Instagram. They'll talk about these topics, toxic masculinity, or my body, my choice, or a lot of these different topics that nobody wants to talk about. But at the heart of it, what I see is just a lot of emotional, like I'm gonna do this because I'm emotionally thinking, and not logically thinking.
Yeah.
Like, where's your moral compass for some of these things?
And there's so much emotional baggage when they carry that thought too. Like, you notice when you look at those podcasts or their views, it's always portrayed like they're yelling at you, like they're like forcing, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, this is what I see. This is how it should be. And it's like, whoa. It's like, no, we're having a conversation here.
We are having a conversation.
But I see there's you have some trauma, you have some emotional baggage, you have some mental things. Like there's something
going on
behind that.
Some of those people too that I've seen on podcasts that, like, if you're talking about a topic such as like women's rights or like, pro this or that, right? They normally will lash out, not have a rational conversation. Like, we're sitting down and there may be a topic that you agree on that I may not agree on, right? But at the end of the day, we're human beings, and I think this platform is a show that it's possible. It can be done. We're not going to sit here. I'm not going to try and chokehold you because you don't believe what I believe or you don't think the way I do. At the end of the day, if we can just meet somewhere in the middle and say, you know what, I disagree with you on that. I still love you as an individual, as a person. I personally will pray that you find Jesus.
Exactly.
And that you would radically change your life. And you would have peace in that. But, that's me. That's why I believe, and that's why I would hope for any guest that comes on, Christian, non-Christian. My job, honestly, on this platform, I'm not here to convert anybody or shove scripture down your throat. I just want to have a conversation.
Exactly. We don't want to argue. We don't want to lash at you. We want to force you to do anything. It's like,
no.
We're showing you what we believe in, and if you don't agree, that's fine. But we would like to show you what we believe in
and why we believe it.
You take it with a grain of salt. You take it with your heart. That's your choice. You do what you want with it. But we're gonna say what we want to say, and that's how it is.
Well, we have the right to, and I think that's. We could move on to, in the future we'll touch more on these topics. We're gonna kind of speed through this because it's our first one, and thank you guys. Anybody that has supported us so far. We got 41 followers. Thank you, everybody that had.
Appreciate it.
I'm gonna go and repost this on my main page on Instagram. So I know there's 1,500 of you guys that follow me on there. If you agree, disagree, or want to support and follow, please do so and head over there because we could use the support and we want to gain traction. I believe that this is a generation that needs the direction, that needs to see somebody with a moral compass, somebody that actually has a heart for people or wants to see a generation rise up from the ashes,
Exactly,
and we're in it. So we're, this isn't like I'm 45 years old and I'm saying I've gone through this. I'm saying I'm going through it. This is what I'm seeing. Right now I'm seeing a lot of confusion of identity. I'm seeing a lot of confusion of just direction, period, of just where to go in life. What do we do? Why are we here? What's my purpose? And so if honestly this platform gives you just that much more direction for your purpose, please join. Please watch. Consistently watch. Subscribe to it. And if you don't subscribe to it, that's fine. It's all good. Like you said, take it with a grain of salt or actually take it seriously. And so what we believe and what we're talking about, we do believe in and we do take it seriously. But I think the other thing too is identity. I think that's a big one.
It's a huge one.
Nobody wants to talk about that right now.
No one. No, it is very, very rarely brought up, and if it is, and it's a very closed circle, and it's not with a lot of people that need to hear it. So,
right.
Yeah, that's pretty big. I'd say.
Well, you're still in school, so
Yeah.
So what do you see?
I see everything. I see. I don't even know what I see sometimes.
Yeah.
A lot of it's like everyone thinks they're right now.
Okay.
Everyone's
Yeah.
always like, okay, I think. I don't. And it's not even an I think. It's like I know this. It's
Yeah.
like because I believe it. It's got to be true. It's 100%. It's that is what's happening. So people put their identity into things that make them comfortable, and being comfortable in those areas it's scary.
Yeah.
It's scary seeing people comfortable in that, but it's what they're influenced by too, you know? I mean,
Yeah.
we can go all the way back to like early maybe mid 1900s, right?
Mhm.
When I mean, we can talk about agendas. We can talk about how from before we were born and right around when our parents were born, you know, there was a lot of heavy influence, you
Yeah.
know, and the influence was all emotional. And we can go back to like cartoons even or movies or very small little details that have a bigger impact now because it's being accepted.
Like subliminal messages.
Very
and
huge
things like that.
subliminal messages. Yes. I mean, it goes back to. I mean, I was watching these cartoons. You know, like Tom and Jerry and stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dude, some crazy like even like depression and suicidal messages in there, and just
yeah.
very, and people laugh about it because it's like it's a
Right.
cartoon going through those things.
Yeah.
But then it's way different when, you know, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, higher and higher percentage of society goes through these things on
Yeah.
a daily basis now, and it's like normalized. So people put their identity in things they're comfortable with.
Right.
So if they want to be known as something,
Mm-hmm.
that's what they're going to be known by. And
Right.
if you're being influenced or if society's being influenced by someone who has a platform
Mm-hmm.
and or something, you know, like if it has a platform and if someone's going through mental health issues, if someone's going through trauma, if even, you know, like I don't genuinely believe you can be mentally stable and say some of the things that are happening right now at all. There's zero like there's lots of mental issues, but
Yeah.
it's like where's the line?
Yeah.
You know,
well,
like
it's all mass now because you
Yeah.
can do pretty much whatever you want.
Yeah.
Is what's being promoted. You can do whatever you want.
Yep.
You could be whoever you want to
Yeah.
be, and it's different from saying like this is the American dream. This is the
Mhm.
land of just
Free. Yeah.
and you get whatever job that your heart desires
Yeah.
if you work hard and all that stuff. That's kind of been tossed out the window so much of like don't
Yeah.
work hard for anything anymore. Just
Exactly.
do whatever you want to do and
Yep,
you'll be fine. and
Just do OnlyFans.
just
you'll
do
be all right.
OnlyFans. You'll be good.
You'll
You'll
make
get
you know.
good salary that
Yeah,
way.
yeah.
It's like you value yourself. You value your body
Exactly.
at $15 a month.
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Good luck finding a husband too.
That's
Throwing out the
seriously
window.
no
Your
good
family.
luck.
Yeah.
Good luck. That's not going to work.
Morals are gone.
Out of the
Yeah.
and what's crazy is like a lot of these people that are doing this, they don't even see it anymore. They're like,
No.
this is good. I can
Yeah.
pay for my bag and all that stuff. And
Yep.
it's like
I can get whatever I want now except what I need.
it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad. I
Mhm.
don't agree with it. It's
Yeah.
actually sad. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Everything's just it's all the world.
And
you
then
know.
for guys, it's like, you rocking the camera? Oh, okay. So now
Whatever.
we're actually just doing a podcast.
What happened?
It overheated, but we still got the audio.
It's not going.
When did it stop? Oh, okay. Whatever. We'll keep going. It's whatever.
Okay.
Honestly, if you want to get your phone and start recording this part, we could always mash them together. All right. Well, we'll keep going because we have the audio. So this is
All right.
this part's going to be, I guess, podcast
Captions
views
and
for
over-
captions and all
Alright,
that stuff, whatever. But anyways, iPhones suck. They're not actually as good as you think. Okay, that's going to be another topic.
I'm gonna get the
Actually,
new one.
Arizona also is extremely hot,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I'm glad that the laptop that we're recording this works. Whatever. But what we're talking about is people think they can do whatever they want, and now
Mhm.
we see even with men. I think that society has made men either do one of two things: lash out irrationally because
Mhm.
now they're just solely being emotional, and they're not being logical anymore.
Yeah.
And when you have somebody, a guy specifically, that's just going on, going through life just emotional, that's how we get school shooters.
Exactly.
That's how we get people killing each other.
Because everyone's taught now to like bundle up your feelings, and it's confirmed on like TikTok and stuff too. It's like I see men posting, no one cares about your feelings, and I see men posting like, just remember, no one cares, and it's like, whoa. It's like, you're not helping, man. Like, that's not
a trend.
It's a trend
Literally,
to do that,
it's
and
a
people
trend.
are agreeing with it, and people are commenting it. Like, thanks, man. Thanks for reminding me. Like, what?
No.
It's like, no. It is okay to let out your emotions, but it is not okay to drown in them.
It's not.
You cannot create a pool filled with your tears and sorrow and expect someone to be sorry for you.
No, seriously, man. It's crazy.
You need help. Yes, you need to, you need to be vulnerable, but you need to do it with the right people. And you can't bundle up everything, because it's going to come out in one of a few ways. You're either going to do something crazy out of your mind, or you're going to shoot a bunch of kids.
Seriously.
Yeah, you're going to let it out on the wrong people. Mm-hmm. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to... It is so many different areas of like... You gotta let it out somehow.
An outlet. Well, you need a healthy outlet. That's why, like, normal outlets, at least what I thought growing up, was like, my dad did boxing.
Yeah.
That's an outlet.
Exactly.
Teaches you discipline, respect.
Yeah.
Okay, if you're way in and over your head, you're going to get knocked out.
Yeah.
It's like my dad, when we would spar, when I thought that I was starting to get strong and I started throwing crazy combinations, he'd throw one good hook to the side of me.
Yeah.
And I backpedaled around because I couldn't breathe.
Yeah.
And that taught me something, that you're not invincible, and you can't just do whatever you want.
Exactly.
It's just, that's a simple principle. In boxing, football, same thing. No matter what sport you do, it teaches you probably a couple different things. Respect, and you have to have motivation to continue to do it.
Yeah.
Take pride in your athletic ability and your abilities to be the best you possibly can.
Yeah.
And I think it's a double-edged sword. People are saying, men, be more emotional. It's okay to cry. And I get it. It's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. But when you have a man that's just going solely off emotion, that's how we get school shooters. That's how we get...
If you're driven off of emotions,
if there's no balance or regulation...
There needs to be balance.
It has to be balance.
Everything in life, yes.
Has to be.
Yeah, because if you're driven off of feelings or emotions, you're done.
You're
done.
Yeah,
Literally. You're a weak man. You're not a man. You're a boy. If you're going solely based off of what you're feeling and your emotions, you can't be the person you want to be in any way. Because you're sucking like the life out of you. Basically, you're just everything's just.
That's depressing.
It is terrible.
Which takes me to the next topic. We've talked a little bit about toxic masculinity, and we've touched on it.
Yeah.
We touched a little bit about identity, and then also the logical versus emotional between women and guys. I feel like, I'll just recap on it real quick. I feel like a lot of women today are just want to do whatever the heck they want, and they don't want to hear anything about it. My way or the highway type of thing.
Exactly.
And there's no respect anymore. I would say there's no respect from either, women or guys, because a lot are lost. Big time. They're lost. And I'm not saying that because you don't have God. I'm saying just morally, there's something wrong. There's something wrong. Like if there was like a family that really needed help, and you had the money to help them out, and they came up to your window and knocked and said, we need this, and you see they're in a really desperate situation, and you have the ability to give, and you don't. Do you not feel the tension? Do you not feel disgusting after when you look at a family like that? And I'm not talking about the crackheads. I'm not talking about the people just begging for money just because they gave up on life or, whatever situation it may have been. I mean a genuine situation where they need help.
Exactly.
Where you have an extra trailer and you're not really using it for anything else, and it's clean, and you're not going to be going on a camping trip for the next several months, and they just need a couple of days to stay, and they don't have any money. Morally, what do you do? Morally, your moral compass should say, I don't know these people. I'll get to know them for a little bit. If we can make some type of little agreement, hey, and if we could establish some type of trust, as long as you're working to get out of the situation,
Yeah.
at least I would say, I have a trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Stay there for a couple days.
That's what you just what you do.
Well, we should help people, and that's the thing is, if you leave people in the dark, it's a problem.
Mm-hmm. And if you lose the feeling of feeling bad, or like feeling guilt, and I'm not saying, there's a difference between guilt and shame too.
Yeah.
I think shame is different. Like, you shouldn't drown in shame, and shame's not
right.
Shame's not from God, but guilt is. You should feel guilty about the things that you're doing if you're sinning. If you're doing something bad, you should feel guilty.
You should feel bad. It's dangerous when you don't.
It is dangerous. It's a very bad situation to be in. If I'm not feeling guilty, okay, I'm definitely doing something wrong. Or if I know I'm doing something wrong, it's time to stop. You're done. Like, you got to stop.
At some point, you have to stop. You cannot progress in life unless you finally stop the habit of whatever it may be.
Yeah.
And so that could even just be negative thoughts.
Exactly.
Like, do you not, and I think a lot of people don't realize this, but you have the ability to take yourself out of a situation if you really, really want to.
Yeah. And
there's some things chemically that you can't do, you can't help, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you know what you can do? I feel like there's steps to this. Like, there's some people, older generation, they don't believe in depression. They don't believe in a lot of these sicknesses that are happening right now, because then they didn't have time to deal with that.
Yeah.
They either had to grow up really, really quick and get it together and have a family, or they had a family early and they had to get it together.
Yeah.
There's still baggage from that.
Oh, yeah. Years.
But how mentally tough are you?
Yeah.
Do you just want medication for everything you're feeling? I'm feeling sad today. Oh, I'm going to pop a couple of meds from the doctor, get that medication. I'll feel better. It's like, do you see the sun?
Exactly.
Do you go outside?
Yeah.
Do you take a walk? Do you read books? Do you do anything that actually allows your brain to process information and not just be lazy all the time and just play video games?
Yeah.
Like, do you just sit on your couch for hours and hours and hours in the dark and you say, I just feel so bad, I don't know why? Or with food.
Yeah.
I just don't know how they got so
Stress
obese.
eating, and
I just don't know how I got so overweight. Do you go to the gym?
Yeah.
Go do some push-ups.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like,
you know what I think of too? It's like, if you're so you got to be balanced in three ways, right? Like, spiritually, mentally, and physically, and everything else comes a lot better when you're balanced in all three of those ways. If a pastor is fat, if there's an obese pastor and he's working on himself spiritually and so-called mentally, he can't have balance, and there's got to be something wrong in his life, because you can't be sound with the body that you're living in unless you're improving it, right? And if you're not improving your body, how are you supposed to be mentally? You can't be mentally 100% there.
Well, you're not even prepared.
No, you're not prepared for anything.
You're not prepared for anything.
No, you're drifting in some way or another. You're not bettering yourself.
Well, you're just going through life. You're going through the motions.
Yes.
And I remember in high school, my dad would tell me, you're not doing anything. You're just going through the motions. At the time, I was doing baseball, and my dad, I love my dad to death. He's a pretty stern, bold guy, and he's a strong man. I could say my dad's a really strong man.
Yeah.
But it inspired me to honestly start the podcast.
Yeah.
Because of my dad, and I see society around the world. I wish that, honestly, it was my dad sitting here and talking about some of these things, because he's actually done them. Yeah. I'm going through them. I'm conquering and climbing mountains with our generation. But it's tough, because you have to have a certain level of mental toughness to just do life.
Exactly.
And if you give up, yes, you'll get depressed.
Yeah.
Yes, you'll get fat.
Yeah.
Or overweight. I'll use the actual term, because it might be offensive to say fat. If you're not happy with your body, do something about it. Go do some push-ups. Do some sit-ups. If you can't do sit-ups, go walk until you can do sit-ups, because you've dropped enough weight to progress and do that. Literally, everything life is about progressing.
Exactly.
You want to have the best job. You want to have the... This is going to be a big one. Don't settle.
Yes.
On a partner.
Don't settle. A partner. Well, that is a big
topic. A big one.
Here we go. Yeah.
Here we go. We're going to dive into that.
Yeah.
Don't settle.
Exactly.
You will not be happy.
And then I think people also settle because if you're not becoming the best version of yourself, you can't have the best version of what you want.
Oh.
You can't.
Yeah.
If you want someone so bad, or if you want to have this mental image of this perfect wife in your head,
Right.
and you're nowhere near ready to have her, you're not. I'm sorry, you're not getting her.
You're not gonna get
You're
her.
not. No, she's off with the man of her dreams. Like, sorry,
Right.
she's not. Nope, that's you're not. You're not doing it,
No.
and you're gonna settle, and you're not gonna be happy because you chose to settle with yourself,
Yeah.
your body, your spiritual relationship, and your mentality, and you settle down on that, and you're like, oh, well, I'm happy in this moment, and I feel good in this moment,
Yep.
and I'm getting emotional pleasure, even if
Right.
it's not physical. If you're getting emotional pleasure because you feel good,
Yeah.
that is such a bad place to be in. Because I don't want to. I personally do not want to have a family and kids with the woman that is not of my dreams. Is not the woman that I want to be with.
That kind of makes sense, right?
That's common sense. It's like, why would I be with someone just because they made me feel good?
Or because it's easy.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? Because it's easy.
That's a cop-out.
You settle because it's easy.
That is a cop out.
You know,
yes.
and like I look at my past, and there's been times where I've done that.
Yeah.
Where I in my situation, I was like, am I actually, like, is this really the girl that I want to marry?
Yeah.
Like, actually, and you know,
Exactly.
at the time, like, I think men especially can get to a place where, or even women, get to a place where they convince themselves that this is it. This is the girl.
And
This is the
scary.
wife, and that's scary. That's
That
a
is
scary place.
very- that's a
And then
very
when
bad
you
place to
come
be in.
to normality, when you come to a logical standpoint,
Yeah.
and you're just sitting there after 10 years, and you're so unhappy, and you're depressed with everything that you have because
life
it was
that you made.
it was all you. You
Yes.
made that life. You chose that life. You copped out. It was easy for you to do that.
Yeah.
She was an easy girl
Exactly.
to pull along and marry.
Yeah.
Honestly, if there's no challenge,
There's no point.
there's no point.
No.
Like, what's the point?
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be easy to get the person that you need.
It shouldn't be easy.
There should be a testimony. There should be something behind it to where you worked up to where God's like, you're ready.
Right. Right. She looked so beautiful, so I trained for a whole entire year because I knew I had to bump up my status as a guy.
Yes.
Because I was like,
Yes.
and it's like, you know,
You wanna
another
be
thing
prepared
too,
for that,
You want to
yeah.
be prepared. You want to look the best you possibly can. You want to be the best you possibly can. Be
Yeah.
the best person you possibly can. And so when you settle, that's just one example in life. If you settle in life on a job, you're not going to be happy.
Yeah.
You want to work the 9 to 5 for the rest of your life?
You're stuck.
You're stuck.
You're stuck.
You can't bump up after a
See
certain
it when you're
point.
70 or 80. Maybe if you're not bankrupt. Like,
But that's
that's
the
how it
thing.
is, yeah.
Seriously, it's like we wait to live when we're retired.
oh yeah,
You're already basically
you're
gone.
dead. You're dead.
You're dead.
You're in your coffin.
You're basically
60
you're
you're
more than 6 feet down at
you're-
that point.
yep.
It's over.
You're 60 years old living your 20-year-old life. That is exactly what
You
you're doing.
physically and mentally can't live that life
No.
at 70 years old.
And you wish and you want and you
You
sit there
regret.
regretting everything because you wish you could have found out how they did it sooner,
Right.
and you never had the balls enough to do it.
But seriously, it's like that cut and dry. Like people that I talk to, they're like, well, it's not just black and white, you know, and there are a lot of times there's a little bit of gray area in there,
Yeah.
but like I'm being serious. It's pretty
Yeah.
black and white.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to be honest, like bump up your status as a guy.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to men here.
Yeah.
Bump up your status. Be the best you possibly can. Be
Yeah.
in shape. Be mentally sharp.
Yeah.
Stop smoking weed.
Yeah.
Okay? Stop. If you're excessively smoking weed, do you know what that does for you?
Yeah.
Do you really know what that does for you?
Mm.
You want to know? I know a lot of people that smoke weed.
Yeah.
And they walk around like they're zombies all the time. They can't have a conversation like this and keep it going for more than 5 minutes before they trail off.
Oh, it's my anxiety. Oh, it's my ADHD. Well, maybe you should get a handle on your mental battles.
And that's the thing. And so, just full disclosure, I'm not against weed.
Yeah.
I'm not against marijuana. I think
Yeah.
marijuana is here for a reason. I don't
Yeah.
think the devil literally came down and was like, I'm going to plant this
Yeah.
in.
Yeah.
It's really going to cause a lot of damage.
Yeah.
That's us. That's our fault. We
Yeah,
did that. We
exactly.
abused it. We abuse a lot of the things in life
Yeah.
that take the joy and natural pleasure out of life.
Absolutely.
And it's like you can't do that. And if
Yeah.
you do that and you are doing it, you will feel empty eventually.
And a good example is sex. It was made by God. It was made to be one with your spouse, right? And it's made for your spouse because it's beautiful. It's beautifully made. It was made for a reason. You're supposed to have kids. You're supposed to have sex. But the way our society and our flesh, it's not your
body count.
Yeah.
Body count, seriously.
Yes.
Like if your body count is literally
is
like
your Snapchat score.
It's
That
no
is-
for reals.
Yeah.
That's look. You should be concerned about that.
Yeah.
And then if you're not concerned about that, because I've seen videos where girls are like, "My body count's like 15," and I'm like,
And then it
what
goes in like
what part of
100.
that-
Yeah.
What part of that is even like as a guy? Am I
Yeah.
going to go? Yeah, I
That's
really
attractive.
Want,
I want
that's
that.
really attractive.
Yeah.
I really no.
Oh, thank you for putting your numbers up for me. I really, that experience. Like, what?
No.
That's,
Modesty.
yeah, classy. There's no class in a chick that has 40 bodies. You know? Yeah.
You're worn through.
Yes,
You're worn
exactly.
through. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I want that.
Yeah.
But if you've made a mistake, and this is where I want
Yes.
I'll bring it down a little bit. If
Yeah.
you've made a mistake, or if you've continued to make mistakes and you're making mistakes, understand it is not too late. And if you feel like you're in a, first of all, if you're just trying to find purpose
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to consistently fill a void in
Mhm.
your life, and you're hurt in
Mhm.
some way when you really look at it, when the guy finally leaves, I'm talking to girls here, if the guy
Yeah.
finally leaves, the same thing happens over and over and over again. You're hooking up, feel great for that time, and
Yeah.
then it's all over and done with, and you feel empty inside.
Yeah.
Sex is not going to fill that
No.
that desire like
you're,
that.
You're missing piece, and you can't find that in a guy in a genuine relationship.
No, again,
You're missing piece. You can look everywhere on this planet, and the missing piece and the answer is not on this planet.
No, it's not.
It's God.
it's God.
That's
It
the
really
only
is. It's
answer.
God.
Yeah.
It's Jesus.
Out of experience, out of not just what we feel, but what we know and what we see, and
Right.
there is absolutely, without a shadow of a doubt, it's God.
Yep.
There's no other answer to that. It's no matter how much pleasure you have, and no matter what you do, if you let all the distractions go and you actually sit down and you think to yourself, what am I doing? And why am I not feeling this way? And instead of being like, okay, I'm not feeling anything. Oh, well, I'm just going to, I'm not going to do anything about it. I'm just going to, I think a lot of guys put that in the gym too. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, because I'm not feeling anything, I'm going to go to the gym to feel pain because pain is the only thing that I feel. And that's strong. That's heavy because I see that everywhere.
Yeah.
Because
you go to the gym.
Yeah, from being, basically I'm basically trying to be a fitness influencer right now. I'm posting on TikTok and YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
But what I see everywhere, because my For You page is Gym and Jesus, and it's basically like the gym side is, there's a lot of men that don't feel anything. They feel numb. They feel immune to feelings because of it. If it's a relationship, if it's pleasure, if it's your ability to even see something without skipping to the next. It's like scrolling too. It's like infinite scrolling because your attention span is the hummingbird that flew by your head.
Literally,
like,
man.
It's so bad. It's so, and I understand that. It's easy to just
Keep
scroll
scrolling,
and scroll.
keep scrolling.
It's what we've been programmed to do from the past 50 years. 30, 50 years.
Social media right there.
It's bad. You can use things for God's glory, but you can only touch the cheese for so long until you get to the mousetrap. You know what I mean? And making sure that you stay clear away from that as possible and not touching, the cheese, because the cheese is right here. The more nibble it, your hand gets caught. Oh, there goes my hand. That's how it is,
No, seriously.
And yeah, that's real.
It's definitely real. TikTok and Instagram, even YouTube, and all of these different social media platforms. We have a platform because they gave us the ability to have one.
Yeah.
But how many people are actually using it for clout?
Yeah.
And doing terrible things? How many people are just doing the same thing every single day, being an influencer without any actual joy in their hearts and their life? They have no spark of energy or even, future because of it. How many of them are actually just so sucked into this world that doesn't really exist.
Yeah.
It's just social media has made it so big that you can't ignore it.
Yeah.
And it's really toxic. Like I was looking at some stats earlier before we had lunch, and it was showing from the early 2000s through where we are now, every single 5 years, the attention span of teens has gone way down by, I think it was like 5% each 5 years. Like it was a crazy amount. Like if you naturally had ADHD anyways, you know how many kids have ADHD because they can't stop scrolling? They're programmed to scroll and scroll and scroll.
Hours and hours
you have
and hours.
about an attention span of 3 to 5 seconds, and you decide in those 3 to 5 seconds whether or not you're going to watch a video. That's scary.
Yeah.
What happens when your phone shuts off and it dies or it breaks and you start freaking out?
Yeah.
It's like, wait, hold on a second. Are you really freaking out because your phone died? You don't know what to do without your phone?
Yeah.
It's not because you don't know, you can't call anybody or anything like that. It's like we're so attached to our devices. Instagram, TikTok is a big one now. There's a lot of influencers using it for good, but there also is a lot. They're like, hashtag stay toxic. What?
Yeah.
Stay toxic?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like you're just going to break up with your girlfriend because I didn't want to be with her anymore.
I got bored.
That
is, whoa.
Wild.
I
You have
got
a responsibility.
bored.
That's part of being a man.
That's super selfish.
It's part of being a man.
Oh, yeah.
It's terrible. I can understand a toxic relationship. You gotta leave.
Yeah.
But to make it a trend of just like, it's been 3 months. It's my time to check out.
Yeah.
Time to go cheat.
Yeah.
Toxic masculinity.
That's
That's toxic masculinity right there. That's what that is.
I think a cop-out is like when people just randomly just ghost people. I think that is wild. It's like there's no feelings anymore. They don't even matter. So, see ya.
Bye.
It's just a cop-out. It's like, I don't want to deal with the situation, so I'm not going to be a man or I'm not going to be a woman and talk to them.
Nope.
It's like, okay, well, you may not want to be in that situation, but, I mean, it depends on what's happening.
Right, it
and
does.
stuff too. But a normal human being to another human, a normal human being would talk something out. And I think a lot of cop-out is like getting rid of the relationship because an argument happens. It's like, well, your mom and your dad probably don't get along 100% of the time because that's marriage.
Right. There has to be growth there.
It's healthy to argue when needed.
Right.
And you shouldn't go to bed as a cop-out because you're arguing either. Yeah.
Me and me and my girlfriend, we don't get along 24/7.
Yeah. That's normal.
It's normal.
That's normal.
You probably shouldn't because then you're just dating yourself.
Yeah.
You're literally dating yourself. If you're getting along 100% with everybody.
Yeah.
And this goes for literally everything. If you're in church and the people in church are like, amen to everything you say, despite it being wrong, and nobody calls you out on that. I'm talking to the church here, actually, because I've seen it happen where they don't correct anybody because they don't want to step on their feet, and maybe it hurts their feelings a little bit. Guess what? Sometimes the feelings need to just be shaken a little bit to cause some brain thoughts to say, oh, maybe this isn't right. Maybe I can't do everything I want. Maybe I can't promote the Bible the way I want to. Because the Bible is a living word. You can't just select one verse and say, yeah, this is okay. Yeah, we accept everybody. That doesn't mean that certain things aren't a sin.
Exactly.
That doesn't that's despite, like, really?
Yeah.
And there's so many churches doing it.
And living by 100% grace too.
Grace, not enough truth.
Yes. And it's okay that you're doing these things. It's okay. It's like, well, what? No, actually, it's not okay that you're doing these things, and I want you to get better. There's no it's okay not to be okay, right? But it's not okay to stay that way,
right?
Okay, yeah, but are you doing anything about that?
Right.
And are you actually? We know you're not okay.
Mm-hmm.
But why are you continuing to stay that way? Why are you making yourself suffer and drown deeper into this hole?
Right.
And you're digging your grave every single day, and then you're going back to your dust. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So I think we live under God's grace, but everyone abuses it.
Yeah.
And it's great,
seriously.
but it's like it's okay to abuse it now.
Right.
Like so many, I think a lot of it is like specific churches and specific people that preach as well. But it's also like, no, Like,
there's a certain point where you have to
we're
draw the
sinners,
line.
and I think people are like, oh, well, I'm a sinner. I sin every day. It's just always gonna be like that. No, you're not supposed to sin. That's not an excuse, because your
It happens.
mind is like, oh, like,
Right.
it happens. You sin. Yeah, that's.
But you want to get better. I
Your,
think that
your flesh, you're a human being. Yes, I understand that, but that is not an excuse to just be like,
to sit in it.
I'm just gonna keep smoking, keep drinking, keep watching porn, keep having sex with my girlfriend before marriage. I'm just gonna keep, doing whatever, and I'm just gonna keep going in this circle. I mean, it's an easy cop-out way, and you need help, and you need vulnerability, and you need to find someone who's older and wiser than you to talk about that stuff, so you can get that out of your life.
You need community.
And I'm speaking out of experience.
Yep. You need community.
You need people to talk to.
But you need community and people to talk to that aren't always going to agree with you.
Absolutely.
Because the ones that always agree with you, you'll never grow.
Yeah.
You'll never grow, and you'll probably stay in the same place.
Yeah.
I've seen specific churches. I've been to some churches where when I was in youth group, we talked about vulnerability a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, we talked about that. But then when it came time for the big things, the things that really mattered, all of a sudden people got quiet.
Yeah. No one wanted to talk about
leaders
that.
decided to be quiet.
Yeah.
We don't want to talk about this because it's going to cause some dilemma. It's going to cause some conflictions, conflict.
Oh, we don't want conflict
We
in
don't
the
want
church.
conflict in the church. We want to keep it nice and peaceful.
Oh, yeah. Because that's how life is.
I ask a lot of people this, but I look at some churches and I say, Jesus walked into the church. It says in the Bible, you could read it. Walked into basically what would be the sanctuary, type of thing, and he saw what was going on in the church, and he started braiding whip together, and he was so displeased with it, and he lashed out. He literally was flipping tables because they were selling stuff. They were just having fun and going off on just emotion and all that good stuff. But you can't do that in the church.
It was basically having a.
They were having a party, man.
They were having a societal party. They were having a normal, not believing in God, not Christian, you're not following any of the rules. 10 Commandments thrown out the window. Like, it's basically going to a normal house party for. People.
They were selling.
Yeah.
They were doing all kinds of stuff, man. And the thing that's crazy about that too is they were having a party without God. They were having a party without Jesus. Like.
And then Jesus walks in the room.
Walks in.
And boof.
And boom. And so I ask people this. It's like, take a look at your church.
Yeah.
Would Jesus really be pleased with what's going on in the church right now?
Is the Holy Spirit settling?
Is it present?
Yeah.
Is it even in
there?
the church?
Is it even there?
Is it even there?
Yeah. Is peace even?
Is it even happening
at all? Yeah.
And this is a message to the church, honestly. Stop bowing down to culture.
Yeah.
And start bowing down to God again.
Stand up.
Stand up.
Yeah.
Be bold.
And my dad talked about this. Was it yesterday? If you're continuing to do the same things over and over again, do you love God?
Woo.
Because if you love God, or if you love someone in general, you would change for them, right? I would change for this girl. I would do anything for this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that girl doesn't really matter anymore if God's not present. Because I'm sorry, that relationship's probably not going to last.
Probably not.
If you love someone so much, more than a best friend, more than just family, as a part of you, you would do anything for them. So why wouldn't you do that for God? And I think that it's so easy for people to make God as a rock on the ground, or even maybe like a pet, I see you every once in a while. I'm not gonna, I don't really talk to you, because you don't really talk back or anything, It's like, well, he does, but he's a still small voice. And
Are you listening?
Are you listening? He's not gonna yell at you. He's a gentleman. He knocks at the door. If you answer, that's on you. God's not gonna slam open the door,
Yep.
He knocks, but I don't think you can hear a knock when you're at a party and you're, drinking and you're smoking, you're doing all these things, and you're going crazy, and I don't think you can hear
you're
that.
Going wild.
I don't think you can hear that little knock at the door when you're doing all these things, So having love for God and fearing God is what is needed. And
Yeah.
I see that, from experience, and the things that I struggle with and such, like lust has always been a hard part in my life, but it's like settling down, stop your busy life for a second,
Yeah.
and just sit down and realize and think to yourself with an open mind, get everything out your head, get her out your head, get him out your head, just sit down, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. What is my life? Am I satisfied?
Right.
Am I Well, I mean, I don't think you should ever be satisfied, but I think
It's more of just a checkup too.
yeah, what am I comfortable with that I shouldn't be comfortable with right now? What am I doing on a daily basis that I probably don't like what I'm doing, or maybe I do like what am I doing, but is it a good thing?
Is it healthy?
Is it healthy? Is it helping me in any way? Is drinking helping you anyway? No, just pleasure. Okay, well then maybe I should cut that out of my life. How am I going to do that? Next steps, next steps for things that happen in your life that you need to either get rid of or healed from, If it's trauma, okay, well, if that's still affecting me till this day because I'm yelling at my wife every day, maybe I should get that checked out.
Right.
Maybe, it's simple things like that. Whatever's impacting your life, is it in a good way or is it in a bad way? What am I surrounding myself with? If it's friends, if it's music, if it's just people, or whatever it is, what am I allowing to influence in my life? Because a lot of people have influence. A lot of influencers can dance every day and make people smile. But what are you talking about? Like, you could have all the money in the world, but you're not going to be happy because what do I can buy 50 cars, I can buy jets, I can buy whatever. Okay, well, that's cool. Where are you going when you die? What am I truly happy? And what makes me truly happy? And what is true happiness?
Right.
Find that.
Right.
Because you can search for it, but there's only one way north, one way south. A compass only points the right way.
Right.
So make sure you have a hold on your compass.
Honestly. Yeah, seriously. Make
sure your magnet is in the right area.
Yeah, make sure things are stable.
Absolutely.
And I think that goes into, and this part is for Christians. If you're a Christian and you're living a very lukewarm life, something is wrong.
Yeah.
Something is wrong, and you need to accept that. If you can't accept that, then you're going to just do the same thing that everybody else does. You might look at other people and say, oh, they just copped out. They ran away from their problems. You're running away from the problem.
Yeah.
If the Holy Spirit's convicting you of something, tapping you on your shoulder and saying you shouldn't be doing something, you probably need to fix that.
Yeah.
So if you're going into Sunday dressing your best and looking your best and all that stuff, and you think that that's going to make up for everything that you've done without repenting or without actually accepting where you are and convincing yourself that you're some high, holy Christian, you're no better than the person that's continuously living in sin without God, honestly. The only difference is if you have been baptized, and if you do say you love God, then show you love God. Yeah. And it's not easy.
Absolutely. And Christianity isn't a religion, and it's not just a Sunday faith.
That's a big one.
You should not have... I talked to God today. All right, well, I'll see you next week. It's like, God's not a family friend.
Right.
God's not a
distant relative.
Exactly. God's not someone you just see at school. You know, He's right in front of your face 24/7, but you kind of have to get closer to someone to see someone.
That actually reminded me of something I had talked about to a couple different people in my life, and I said when we were talking about God, and they were like, well, I just don't hear anything. I don't feel closeness. I don't feel peace and all that stuff. I said, well, are you actually trying? And they said, yeah, I am trying. I said, really? Have you ever had a girlfriend or a boyfriend before? Because I've talked to both girls and guys, and they say, oh, yeah, I have. Did you love your boyfriend? Or at least liked him enough to call him maybe every day or every 2 days or every couple of days? And they're like, yo, yeah, we'd FaceTime, we'd be on the phone late at night, and,
text 24/7.
Text 24/7,
Yep.
I love you, babe, this and that, can't wait to see you, let's
heart
go to the
emojis,
movies, heart
emojis.
emojis, this and that, let's go here, let's go there, can't wait to see you again.
Yeah.
You start to get attached to that person, they start to build a relationship with that person, and anyways, whether those relationships actually did last or didn't last, it's besides the point. The point was, I asked them a simple question. If you called your boyfriend once a week, would he be okay with it? I said, oh, yeah, he would be able to, accommodate for the loss of time. I think he'd be okay. It'd be a stretch, but, we'd be okay. Because they were pretty in a secure relationship. And I was like, okay. And now if you called him maybe once every month, how would that feel? How do you think you would feel about that? And she was like, honestly, I think I'd probably lose him. I said, you want to know what's the greatest thing about God? I was like, you can't lose God. You can turn away from God, but you can't lose God.
Yeah.
So I said, how many times are you actually calling out to God? Yeah. Is it once a month? Is it once a week?
Is it only when I feel good?
Is it only when you feel good? When you feel bad? When you need something and you're treating God like a genie?
Yeah.
Because it's a relationship. How many times are you actually talking to God?
Yeah.
What effort do you put into talking to God and trying to grow close with God? And you compare it to your relationship. Are your priorities straight?
Yeah.
And this is somebody that was actually a Christian.
Yeah.
And I was like, look, that's your problem.
Yeah.
You can't talk to God once a month and think that things are going to...
He's not a monthly subscription.
Radically grow.
Yeah. He's not a monthly subscription.
It's not. No. You can't do that.
Yeah.
That's not the way it works. That's not the way it works in our lives.
Yeah.
Why would it be any different with God? God wants to hear from you.
Exactly.
But no, go ahead and say what you're going to say.
You shouldn't... God shouldn't be I'm going to have my landscapers come over once a month to clean my yard. Your yard shouldn't be dirty all the time because you decide to put everything into it, right? And then expect someone else to clean it all for you, right? God's not your landscaper. God's not your people that you hire to clean up your mess. No,
right.
It's you need to take care of it yourself, and you can't do this all on your own. But
right.
you're trying to better yourself, and you realize, okay, I need God.
Yeah.
But I'm not just going to come to God just because things are bad.
Right.
Or things are really good. Oh, thank you, God. Thank you, God, so much for her.
Right.
Oh, God, I really need help right now. Things are bad with her, our relationship. Oh, God.
Yeah.
God, I want her back. Stop. Stop. You're emotionally driven. You're weak. You are. And
spiritually.
If you can admit that you're weak and you're willing to change, that's your first step.
Honestly.
Okay. I admit I am weak in this area. I am a bad example of a Christian. I'm a bad example of a man. And if you're a woman, the same thing goes for you.
Yep.
I'm acting like a little boy. I'm acting like a little girl, etc. Right?
Yep.
It's time to stop.
It is time to
stop and stand up, and let go of things you need to let go of. And I think I would pray this too. And I would pray, if you're a Christian or you're not a Christian, okay, if I'm not a Christian, God, if you're real, send me a sign that you're real. There's no hurt in that. There's no hurt in that.
Can't lose anything.
You can't lose anything. God, send me a sign if you're real. Send me a sign if you're really who you say you are. Okay. If you're not a Christian, you need to do that, go ahead. If you need to do that, go ahead. I've had a buddy that actually did that one time, and you got to sign pretty quick, and it's different for everybody, based off of that, what God, thinks you need to hear and such, but that's where it is. If you are a Christian, God, take people that are in my life that you don't want to be in my life out, that are not benefiting me out of my life. God, help me pour into things I need to pour into, and help me to stop pouring into the things and hold me back from the things that I'm pouring into that aren't benefiting my life, that I'm not regenerating from. Right. God should be a regeneration of refilling your cup. He should refill your cup on a daily basis. You pour into other things that you need to, but making sure that also what is filling your cup? Is God filling your cup, or is the devil filling your cup? Is your feelings filling your cup? If my feelings fill my cup to 100%, they're going to overflow. That's what I know. If God fills me up 100%, I'm going to overflow into other people, and I'm going to go crazy. I'm going to go Jesus crazy. I'm going to spread the gospel like crazy. I'm going to worship like crazy. I'm going to do everything to my best ability, my 100%. My energy is going to go, it's going to go off the charts.
Yep.
Because I'm filled with the Holy Spirit. I'm filled with God. I am
Yeah.
ready. I'm on the move.
Yep.
And I'm ready to influence others in the best way I can.
Yep.
if I fill my cup on a daily basis with bad things, it's same thing goes. That's how it is, you know.
What's in your heart normally comes out of your mouth.
Vocally, yes.
Vocally. And I think there's actually a scripture about that. And in the future, we'll have a Bible out here, and we'll talk about pull more scriptures and talk about that. But there's principles in the Bible that are presented, and I think that they still stand for today's truth, and they are today's truth, and they should be today's truth. Mm-hmm. Whether or not you agree with them, it's up to you. Mm-hmm. You know, it's up to you. And I think for the last thing I want to say to you is, if you are an influencer, just because you say period at the end of everything you say, and there may be hype with it, does not mean you're correct. Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. I've seen it. Yeah. I've known somebody like that. Slay.
Eat.
Stop. You're just doing the same thing that culture is doing right now. Let it go. That and I asked somebody that. I said, "Who are you?" I'm so and so. Say your name. I said, "Without your social media platform, who are you?" I'm a Jesus believer. But she kind of had to think about it for a second. And I was like, "Do you know who you are?"
Yeah.
Whoa. Or is social media just your identity?
Yeah. And you're influencing people and you don't know who you are? You're not sure?
That's scary.
You're questioning who you are?
That's so scary.
Yeah.
I was in my truck at the time, and I said, what? In my head, I was like, you got to be kidding me. You're lost.
Yeah.
And you're leading people.
Yes.
And you're leading people. You can't lead unless you're being led by the great influencer himself.
Yeah.
You can't. There's
You're
no
stuck.
direction there. You're
lost.
stuck.
Yeah.
You're lost.
You're done.
You're done. You're in a very, very toxic relationship with social media.
Yeah.
Honestly, you shouldn't be leading anybody if you don't know who you are.
Yeah.
And if you're trying to find out who you are, at least admit it.
Exactly.
At least admit it, because people need vulnerability here. And for and for people that think it would ruin their character and ruin their whole entire figure on social media, it is stronger for you to admit that you're weak than it is to keep pretending that you're strong. You can quote me on that.
Oh, yeah.
But we'll end off this podcast with saying, guys, thank you for watching. Seriously.
Yeah, thank you.
This is the first one. I always want to pray for everybody, so I'm just going to pray right now. God, would you please bless everybody that's watched this podcast, and God, would you continue to allow us to all grow together? Would you allow us to do your will and just to be able to talk about these topics freely, and despite the criticism or the things that we're going to be facing, because it's going to happen. I know it is. God, people loved you, and people have also hated you, and I think that's going to be the never-ending story for people that believe in you. We'll go down in history as the most loved and hated people, and we accept that. So in Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Yep. I got so much other stuff to say, too.
Bro, I know. All right, I'll stop it here. We got a lot of stuff.
9:42, that's perfect.
Bro, it's